What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing a match reaction, match analysis, match review, whatever you want to call it. Look at the Manchester City home match in the Champions League group stage, Group C. Match day 5 game at home against Shakhtar Donetsk. I think the best way to summarise this before I even start with this video is actually what Sky Sports had put on their app, which is under par City secure qualification and top spot in the Champions League and through to the last 16, which is the best way really of summarising this game because City were extremely under par. But we're going to have a look at this and ways forward and what City can do about what's happening and stuff. We'll have a look at that in this video, but make sure, like always, before I crack on with this video, make sure you subscribe, press that red button, press the bell, put your push notifications on. We're closing in on 5,100 subscribers. We're only 17 away, so if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe and help support my channel. That would be much appreciated. You can go and check out my social media links, Twitter and Instagram, in description below and popping up on screen. If you want to go and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, that would be much appreciated too. Don't forget also, leave your thoughts in the comments below from this game and what you think Man City's best way forward is. And also, don't forget, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. So we're going to crack on with this video, and we're going to first up quickly just have a look at the game and how it unrolled, and then have a look at the end some summaries and what we can see for Manchester City to do about this and why the performances are the way they are. So Cancelo was starting again. Surprised Kyle Walker didn't get a runabout. Well, there we go. Fernandinho and Otamendi in, so a rest for John Stones, which doesn't surprise me considering Stones fairly recently has only just come back from injury. Angelino in for Mendy, Rodri, Gundogan and also De Bruyne starting, which is a very deep midfield for a team that I was expecting to sit deeper. I was expecting to see a little bit more creativity, should I say. Not too sure why Phil Foden didn't start in this game, to be honest. Seemed like Man City were quite intent on the score being quite low. There wasn't a real lot of intent from City, and if that was the case, I'm not too sure why we went with such a strong team and risking injury, if that's what we was happy with. So obviously there's some kind of problem here. Well, I won't say problem. There's something just a little bit not right that just needs tweaking. I'm not too sure. I'm going to have a look at some things, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I've got some suggestions, but I'm not too sure. We saw Gabriel Jesus starting up front as expected, as Aguero out injured, as we saw Raheem Sterling and Bernardo Silva starting out wide. And my first real big problem is Riyad Mahrez is in really good form, and surely if we're looking for he just scored at the weekend too, surely we're looking for confidence players that are playing well. That Riyad Mahrez is one of them players. Kyle Walker's done very well over the last month and a half too. His confidence surely should be up. These are players that, to me, in my opinion, should be starting. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that in the comments below. For Shakhtar, no Tayson, he was injured, which surprised me. I didn't know that, so there we go. Learn something new every day. As I'm not all familiar, I'll be completely honest, with Shakhtar's team. I was expecting them to be I was just about to say not as good as what I was expecting them to be, but they were very good defensively. They looked very organised going forward. I mean, a little bit more of a clinical touch to them and a little bit more composure up top. They probably could have taken all 3 points. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts. But I thought Shakhtar did very well. Lost 3-0 at home against us in September. Last season came to the Etihad and got smacked 6-0. So to come about, we surely couldn't have been expecting them to come in and be nice and open and get smacked 6-0 again. Surely that wasn't what was expected. Are we under-preparing for teams? I don't know. There's something. I'd love to know what that something is, but there's something not quite right at City, not just yet. First half, slow 15 minutes. We looked a little bit disjointed with all the changes that we made, and it's disappointing. First 15 minutes could be crucial in the game. Going 1-0 ahead, being nice and aggressive, creating a couple of opportunities, putting our oppositions under pressure from the off. Not really seen that this season from City. We're normally so solid. That's one possible solution. We need to get back to being nice and aggressive and nice and switched on. We've got loads of games playing every 3-4 days now, right up to Christmas. No reason why we can't be nice and aggressive first 15 minutes, put all our high energy into that, and then go from there. Liverpool's very good at that. City need to start becoming very good at that too. One of the top, I think we was the top goal scorers in the first 15 minutes of games last season. Liverpool like the last 10 minutes. City, they used to anyway, like the first 15 minutes, but last few games, we've been a bit slow and sluggish, if I'm completely honest, and because of that, allowing our opposition confidence and to grow into the game. It happened against Chelsea, they scored. Happened against Shakhtar, but they didn't score, but missed a really good opportunity. Ederson rounded after completely missing the ball. That's I'd say pretty schoolboy error, if I'm completely honest, from Ederson. Such high calibre goalkeeper, you'd expect a little bit better. He's rounded. A bit predictable with a shot, I thought, the attacker for Shakhtar ended up getting blocked by Fernandinho, which to me was a decent block. I know Otamendi was backing him up and probably would have made a block too. So fair credit to the defenders for reading the danger there and keeping the score at 2-0. Took us into half-time, really poor half from City. Shakhtar looked more dangerous, showing more fight, finding more space, and overall, in my opinion, we're playing better than what we were, which is really disappointing considering we'd gone with such a strong team. Like I said, if we'd gone with younger players here and we could afford to lose both this game and the game against Dinamo Zagreb and more than likely still be finishing in first. So I'm just not sure why we've gone with such a strong team if our intention was just to pick up a point. I don't know, but I felt like we just weren't playing right and it just weren't ticking. Something wasn't quite right. And like I said, I'm trying to put my finger on this. 56 minutes into the second half, Kevin De Bruyne managed to sneak into Gabriel Jesus, who didn't have enough time to gather his composure and get a shot away for a one-on-one. So instead, scrappily, I'll add, squares it across and there's Gundogan to slot home. We got there eventually, 1-0, but you take anything when it comes and it gets like that. Then, disappointingly, 69 minutes in, saw Solomon equalise for Shakhtar on the counter-attack. Cancelo chooses to back away rather than coming to meet. Doesn't take a tactical foul, is what we call it, take the yellow card for the team. He doesn't do that, doesn't step forward. If the player goes past him, foul him. He backs off, and because he backs off, allows him space to manage to weed around City's shaky defence, shall we say. Ends up getting, played back in. And again, Cancelo's caught a little bit leggy. He didn't have a good game in this game, I thought, Cancelo. Doesn't close down quick enough, kind of holds his ground, and the shot's put through, ends up going in the back of the net, really. Weak defending, story of our season, 1-1. Ended up finishing 1-1 in a game that was probably a bit flat, but I imagine Shakhtar are probably extremely delighted, so well done to them. 64% possession for City, 36% possession for Shakhtar Donetsk. 16 shots for City, just 7 on target. Well, it's good, 7 on target, just 1 goal though to show for it, which is a little bit disappointing. Aguero being injured and being out for 3 or 4 weeks. It's probably going to be a big blow over the coming week, so Jesus really needs to find his feet and quick. Do not rule out Raheem Sterling starting up front and possibly seeing Bernardo Silva and Riyad Mahrez starting out on the wings. Do not rule out a formation change either, and see us maybe going with whole midfield and attackers in it, like Bernardo Silva's and the Raheem Sterling, and not playing with any front forward, and any player that wants to go forward when we get in the attacking third goes forward to try and score goals. It is something that we could well experiment with, and to me, things do need changing. We are a little bit predictable, things need to be changed, so what that could be, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. I will give some suggestions in just one moment. In terms of the passes, 668 passes, it's a lot better from City from the Chelsea game. 90% pass completion rate, which is very good. 385 passes from Shakhtar Donetsk. Pass completion rate of 78%. That's decent. But for all the passes and all the shots it was having, clear-cut chances, just 1 created for City and 2 created for Shakhtar. Yeah, something for us to think about. We ended up having more corners, more offsides, more recoveries, making more tackles, yet Shakhtar were better in their tackle succession rate. So that's something that we need to be working on. And that actually leads to more saves, by the way, for their goalkeepers. You'd expect Ederson making just 1 save. But that leads me to my point here. One of the biggest things I feel like City are missing this season, and it's one of the biggest factors for me as to why we're not doing as well as last season, is I just simply don't think we are as good as what we were last season. Now, I was thinking last night, just after the result, that I was thinking, has City set the precedence and the standard so high that we can't possibly retain that standard of football that we've had it at, that we're seeing it drop, albeit we're at a good high standard, that we're probably on course for a good points tally. That I'd be surprised if we got anything less than 85 to 90 points still, but which is a good season. Like, look at the records for the Premier League, but it's not as good as the standard that City's managed to raise the bar to. Liverpool managed to raise their bar to that level too. It's just City now petering away, and we're heading back down to the standard that we've come to expect from the Premier League. That I feel like we're all disappointed because City's standard is now so high, because it's what we've become used to over the last couple of seasons. I just think, is that what's happening here? But I feel like our squad just isn't as good as what it was last season or the season before. Laporte injury and Sane injury, obviously big blows, but Vincent Kompany leaving and not signing anyone, is a big blow. Like, we could sign any centre-back and it'd still be a downgrade on Vincent Kompany. That's just how good he is. He's a tactical fouler, just like Fernandinho. He's very good at reading the play. He knows when danger is. He'll take the yellow card if he needs to. He'll take a red card if he needs to. He reads the game very well. He isn't a rash player. He's a player... He's a captain fantastic. He's just a player that we miss. He made the team tick. When we needed City... Like, put Vincent Kompany in the starting 11 yesterday, and he'd lead by example. I'm just... know that it set the team with so much more confidence and flair to them that all of a sudden they'd up the game. You know that you've got the Rock, Vincent Kompany sitting right behind you, that you can go out and do whatever you want because you've got such a reliable player there. And because he's not there anymore, it's a huge miss for City, and we've not replaced it. We've not signed anyone. I think that's criminal, but like I said, sign anyone and you're probably going to be disappointed because it isn't Vincent Kompany. And I feel like this is the post-Vincent Kompany era. Was always going to struggle. And we've brought Fernandinho, dropped him deeper to go into that defensive role, and albeit Fernandinho's done very well playing at centre-back, in my opinion, City's best centre-back this season, I feel like we've just got a bit of a hole in defensive midfield now because of signing Rodri and bringing him in. He's got a different style of football to what Fernandinho is. He's going to take at least a couple of seasons, you'd think, to be able to settle in fully and see Rodri flourish. And in that situation, I feel like we should have just signed a centre-back just so we could ease Rodri in and rotate Fernandinho. Because obviously we brought Rodri in, he was going to be a rotation with Fernandinho. Fernandinho's still more than capable playing defensive midfield at that high standard, but Fernandinho's now probably, in my opinion, playing more games than what I was expecting him to when we first signed Rodri. So... I'm not having Fernandinho in defensive midfield, the player that drops deep, the tactical fouler, the guy that reads the ball so high up the pitch and stops all these counter-attacks, that, we're missing him. It's a big hole, and Rodri isn't the same. I mean, I know Rodri's a good passer in his different style, but I felt like the Fernandinho style really suited Pep, really suited City, and it really suited the Premier League, most importantly. So... there's just a couple of little things there that added together become quite a big problem. That to me is one of the reasons why we're not doing so well. Obviously the talk about Pep Guardiola possibly leaving at the end of the season, which I think is rubbish, by the way, doesn't help. Hearing all these stories floating around, I think not picking your strongest 11 and your informed players is also another factor. With lots of squad rotation doesn't help either, and not knowing who our starting 11 is going to be while keeping it unpredictable is actually, if you get where I'm coming from with this, more predictable for us, because teams know that City are going to be making changes. They know that City's got a strong squad. They know which players are going to be coming out, and so they start preparing for that. So it's just something we need to think about, and to me, a formation change will change that. That will keep things unpredictable. It'll give other teams something to think about, and surely we're working on things like formation. We can't just have one formation and one team playing around like City's. I don't know. I feel like a five in midfield or a five at the back or something just to change things up, just to keep things unpredictable and get things back to the way they were. Like, I don't know. One last added one. Saw this comment on Twitter and he agreed like 1,000,000% with this. Is like City need some confidence. Whether that comes from a good performance and battering a team, that would help. But I feel like our season hinges right now on, it sounds a bit obsessive this, but what Liverpool do. Liverpool are grinding, and they are grinding hard. They aren't playing particularly well. They didn't play particularly well against Anfield, yet grinded really hard and beat us. And they're doing that to near enough every single club, bar Napoli. I filmed this game before the Liverpool-Napoli game, but in Napoli they couldn't manage to do that. But they're grinding really hard, and whilst they pick up win after win after win after win, it demoralises City. So if Liverpool could just drop a point here or there or lose a game, I feel like that would give City that little pick-me-up, that little confidence boost to then say, actually, we go into our next game, win this game. All of a sudden, where we could have been 12 points behind last week before closing that gap down to 9, we might only be like 6 points behind, and Liverpool aren't invincible anymore. So I feel like City just needs something to go in their favour, and if that could come soon, that would be brilliant. That pivotal moment, will get City back on track. Love to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Terms for this game: poor game for City, not at the best of game, and I'm just happy that this wasn't a Premier League game, because I feel like everyone would be a lot more unhappier. I feel like the flaws are starting to come out with City, but I'm happy that they're coming out. If they were going to come out, I'd happy it's come at home in the Champions League, where we picked up a point to seal not only qualification but first place for City. So I'm not all disappointed. It's just like this weekend, big game coming up away at Newcastle. Need to learn our lessons from last season. Newcastle not in great form. We need to be going there. We need to be playing well and picking up them 3 points. Fernandinho's block gets in my JSGC man of the match. Fernandinho is such a solid player. I rate him highly. He did have a good game, in my opinion. So to me, he's my man of the match. I did make a note. I wrote this just after the game. I said I could have picked a blue seat really to have been the man of the match, but I think that's a bit harsh, don't you? But fact is, we're in the last 16. We've sealed first place. There's now a big scramble between Dinamo Zagreb, Shakhtar Donetsk and Atalanta for that second Champions League spot in our group. That's going to keep things very interesting, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm almost certain City will send out a weakened squad and a young squad for that away game in Croatia, just like we did in the Ukraine a couple of seasons ago when Shakhtar Donetsk beat us. So yeah, just be prepared for that. Well done to Shakhtar. They're looking good for a top 2 spot. They know that if they win the next game, they're going to seal a Champions League spot in the last 16. So they picked up a good result here. So well done to them. Like I said, lost 3-0 at home this season against us. Lost 6-0 at the Etihad against us last season. So to be able to recover from that, it's done. Job done really for City. Lots and lots to improve on. We're seeing miles away, hopefully. It'll come a distant memory in a week's time or so. Couple of Premier League games, couple of wins, good performances. Liverpool dropping some points would be great. So yeah, lots to look forward to. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Like I said, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all again for the next video. I've waffled on for long enough. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all again for the preview for that Newcastle game. So I'll see you then. It's in JSGC. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.